Honey Boy is an autobiographical drama written by Shia LaBeouf. LaBeouf originally wrote the script as a form of therapy while in rehab. The movie is based on Shia's coming of age, but mainly his relationship with his father. The project was announced March 2018, and the cast was introduced the following 2 months. The film stars LaBeouf as his own father, Lucas Hedges as older Shia, Noah Jupe as child actor Shia, and FKA Twigs playing the no-named love interest. With the direction of Alma Harrell, filming took place in LA over the course of 3 weeks. Honey Boy had its world premiere at the Sundance Film Festival in January of 2019 and was later released on November 8, 2019 by Amazon Studios. The film initially received positive reviews from critics and single-handedly changed the public's opinion of Shia LaBeouf. Then, in September of 2022, Shia admitted to fabricating childhood abuse at the hand of his father for profit for the movie Honey Boy.
My dad never hit me. Never. He spanked me once. One time. And the story that gets painted in Honey Boy is like this dude was like abusing his kid all the time. You know, my dad tried to keep me from smoking cigarettes. That's when he spanked me. He found me smoking cigarettes in the shower, he pulled me out, he spanked me. That's when he spanked me. But that wasn't my narrative. Because it didn't position me as like this wounded, fractured child that you could root for, which is what I was using him for.
This came as a shock to many as he was heavily praised on the project for his raw authenticity. He often referenced this movie as the wake-up call in his recovery. Many are left confused as to what they can and can't believe about the biopic. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down the intentional lies in the film and deep diving into the actual Honey Boy. Despite the lack of added fluff on Shia's part, there's still a very interesting story here to say the least. Shia LaBeouf was born on June 11, 1986 in Los Angeles, California. He is the only child between Shayna Saeed and Jeffrey LaBeouf. LaBeouf's mother was Jewish and his father of Cajun descent. Similar to the film, Shia's father was a war veteran and part-time street performer. Jeffrey would do his clown acts all over Los Angeles, Westwood, Santa Monica, and San Francisco. He would move the family around a lot in the beginning of Shia's life, sometimes even dressing him up as a baby clown for money. LaBeouf had what he described as a good childhood, growing up in Echo Park with his mother, who at the time worked selling fabrics and brooches while his father was in and out of AA. At one point, LaBeouf's uncle offered to adopt Shia. His parents could not deny that they couldn't afford to take care of him living this unstable lifestyle, but their pride was too big and they'd decline every time. Eventually, the couple divorced when Shia was 5 due to the constant financial strains along with Jeffrey's alcoholism. Finance drove my family apart because they were co-owners in a fashion company that fell apart, Shia told Parade magazine. It may not be the sole reason for the split, but it is the superficial reason. It's the surface reason that you can point at and go, that's the reason. Shia would go to AA meetings to support his father, where unattended at age 10, he learned to smoke and play cards. As a way of bringing his divorced parents together, he would perform for his family, ironically doing bits that mimicked his father. He met another kid actor in school around this time who played a child on Dr. Quinn's Medicine Woman, who opened his eyes to Hollywood, that there was a way for him to earn adult money as a child. This is when Shia was set on getting paid for performing. He would talk his way into gigs by changing his voice on the phone, pretending to be his own agent. This method landed a child Shia a stand-up gig at a comedy club in Pasadena where he would tell dirty jokes.
Oh, well, see, I used to perform at the Ice House and stuff.
Yeah, out in Pasadena.
Right, and they got alcohol there, so I couldn't perform there unless the alcohol was away. So you'd be sitting there with all these drunk people, and they really don't give a crap about some kid performing. They just want their alcohol. They don't care what you're seeing. So you had to come up there and shock value. You had to be up there oh, the first time I orgasmed, confetti shot out of my penis, and it was like it was a circus in my pubic area, and that would get their attention. Like, oh, this kid is
This is when you're 11?
Yeah, like 11,
that's
12.
I didn't have sex until I was like 14. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
I mean, I started doing stand-up, and then I got an agent through the Yellow Pages, and that's how my story started.
Shia recalled the agents being very shocked at his networking skills and demeanor. His parents' consent was completely pushed to the background as Shia single-handedly worked his way up the entertainment ladder. Unlike the movie Honey Boy depicted, Shia's mother, Shayna, not his father, raised LaBeouf as a single mother and supported his acting endeavors. When he landed Even Stevens, she temporarily sent her son to live with his father in the Honey Boy Motel so they could be near the filming studio, which was within the same city. Unlike the movie, Jeff wasn't as passionate for his son to be an actor. I wouldn't have chosen for Shia to be an actor, an artist for sure. He's a really fine artist with a brilliant mind, and from early on, I was trying to encourage him to be a writer. Despite the difference in opinion on where Shia's life should go, there was a positive financial change from the child acting. Things were getting better, but Jeffrey still wasn't present. He was in the VA hospital going through withdrawal during the peak of Shia's child stardom. It pissed me off that he wasn't around. We weren't strong enough to talk bluntly about what was really happening. By the time Shia was 14, he had gained tons of fans and an Emmy for Even Stevens. At 16, LaBeouf moved out on his own in Burbank. The film Holes, which came out the same year, introduced LaBeouf to two of his stand-in father figures, co-star John, who was also in Transformers, and Spielberg. And by 18, Shia was a millionaire. Like many child stars turned adult actors, Shia struggled coming of age in the public eye. A string of public outbursts, controversies, and multiple arrests soon followed. The movie Honey Boy begins in this phase of Shia's life. Despite the setting of the film being 2005 flashing back to 96, the real events leading to Honey Boy happened over 10 years later. On July 8, 2017, LaBeouf was arrested in downtown Savannah, Georgia at around 4 a.m. for public intoxication, disorderly conduct, and obstruction. Body cam footage showed LaBeouf making profanity-laced racial remarks towards police officers during his arrest.
And you know you're black, and you know you're a cop. Who loves you? You stuck, bro. Who you fighting for? You got a president that don't give a about you. And you stuck in a police force that don't give a about you. So you want to arrest white people who give a who ask for cigarettes? I came up to you trying to be nice, you stupid. I came up to you asking for a cigarette, you dumb. Why would I ask for a cigarette if I was racist, you stupid? Swear, you dummy. I got more millionaire lawyers than you know what to do with, you stupid. I'm from it, you dummy. Busted. Shut the up. There you go. You dumb. America, you stupid. America. You put a white man in the pen for what? You for asking for a black man for a cigarette? That's your country. I pay my taxes, you dumb. You about to meet my lawyer, and you made this trip for nothing, and you feel like a stupid, slimy whore. Copy.
You wanna get out, brother?
You're a
There you go. Come on.
You're a worst.
Alright, man. Come on.
Yo, if I don't respect you, I spit in your face.
Your gun on my hand. Why don't you move away from me? Why don't you move away from me? That's a tap, like, get away. Yeah, it is, you stupid bitch. You're garbage, man. You're garbage to your gig. Because if I really wanted to, I could lift that shit up. But I ain't gonna try. So get away from me. You feel good about life? You feel patriotic about this shit?
Hey, you going to hell straight to hell, bro. That's not very nice to say. No, it ain't, but it's real. You respect me, Dabney. That's sad. Why was he dead? Because he's a black man. That don't mean he's going to hell. It means a whole lot, bro.
He later blamed the incident on his alcohol addiction. In the film, Shia is also portrayed as a star who suffers from alcoholism. However, this character crashes his car before the drunken altercation with police. After pleading no contest in October of 2017, LaBeouf was found guilty of obstruction, but was found not guilty of public intoxication. He was sentenced to probation for 1 year, including time served, in order to pay a $1,000 fine, as well as seek therapy to manage his anger and substance issues. During that court-ordered therapy, Honey Boy was born. The flashback starts with our first glimpse of Shia's father. Shia's dad is introduced as a rough biker guy with a Louisiana accent that comes and goes.
She's filling your head full of fear. I don't ever do that, do I? Huh? I pump you full of strength. Because we're on a team and I know you got what it takes. You're a fucking star and I know it. That's why I'm here.
Jeffrey confirms that he is of Cajun descent, but he is not from Louisiana and does not know where Shia's accent came from, stating, "I never had a Louisiana accent. I don't hear myself when I listen to him in the film, but remember, he's playing a caricature." A major conflict in the movie you learn early on is that Jeffrey LaBeouf is a registered S offender. In the film, when young Shia is offered a part that will be shot in Canada, he calls his mother to take him, as he is unsure if his dad can, due to his criminal status. James is then shown attending another AA meeting, where he talks about his abusive stepmother, how he got into substance abuse, and while blacked out, attempted to SA a woman, which got him registered as a S offender. Mr. LaBeouf served a real-life jail sentence between 1981 and 1983 after being convicted. The online Department of Justice confirms the crime, describing it as assault with intent to commit. Jeffrey was also allegedly accused of S harassment or sexual harassment, trying to keep it YouTube friendly, basically harassing an actress on the set of Even Stevens. Shia's father disputed some of these claims, stating, "I had a conviction for attempted blank, and I was registered as a S offender under Megan's Law." So people would make aspersions of blank that never happened. So this young guy was running around with a story he heard from a producer about how I had come onto her, and I picked him up by his collar, threw him against the wall, and said he needed to keep my name out of his mouth or we would have problems. Jeffrey had also been accused of allegedly assaulting a gay Disney executive after he gave Shia a congratulatory hug. Shia also recounts the incident, stating, "My dad goes, 'Are you trying to talk to my boy? You chicken hawk? You can't do that to the executives.'" After Honey Boy's release, Jeffrey LaBeouf's criminal history was made relevant once again. This made him go into hiding, often fleeing to South American countries. In 2020, Jeff confessed the reason he had moved abroad was that he grew tired of Megan's Law. "I got tired of dealing with Megan's Law. A person commits a crime and they're on me for the rest of my life. I haven't committed no crime since 1980. Megan's Law needs to look at itself, but people are going to believe what they're going to believe. I went to jail for attempted blank. This was in 1980. Whatever I was doing, I have no clue. I was blackout drunk. I'd done blank and also alcohol. I am 6'3". This person was 5'2" and 29 years old. It hurt my heart to see her in the courtroom. I was appalled. I have no clue why I was in that car, whether I was carjacking the car or what. I have no blank in my history, so I don't know. But I was appalled. I was overwhelmed with emotion. I just said, 'Your Honor, I plead no contest.' And the judge said, 'Okay, 3 years attempted blank.' Nobody forced me to buy that fifth of Jack Daniels and half an ounce of blank and partake in those two substances so much that I was so messed up that I had no clue what I was doing. But that's all on me. Not as the drunk, but as the sober person. Blacking out is not an excuse for anything. It's a messed up condition is what it is." Despite Jeffrey LaBeouf's alcoholism and violent charges, he was not an abusive father to Shia. For example, during a flashback in the film, young Shia finally confronts his father and tells him he needs to start being a better father. A furious Jeff hits him, then leaves on his motorcycle to acquire drugs at a strip club. "I never hit Shia in the face," Jeff clarified. "I did threaten him one time. I threw him in an overstuffed chair with my fist on his collar, and I raised my other fist and said, 'Now you want to try me?' Or something like that. In terms of being physical with him, when he was a baby or young boy, if he wanted to have a temper tantrum or cry, I would just pick him up by one foot and he would change. His demeanor would go to wonder and awe. There was no need to spank him." Shia himself even later confessed that his father was not abusive. Jeff had only spanked him once as a child for smoking a cig in a bathroom. Shy Girl in the film is portrayed by artist F.K. Twigs, whom Shia currently has a lawsuit with in real life for his own abusive behaviors. Shy Girl doesn't have a name, but it is insinuated throughout the film that she is a S-worker who has an inappropriate relationship with the young Shia. One scene even shows Jeffrey walking in on them together, then smoking a cig with his son afterwards. Well, Shia never hooked up with a prostitute on my watch, Jeff clarifies again. And I never gave him cigarettes, but the first season of Even Stevens, we lived in a hotel just like the film, and a pimp and prostitute did live next door. Jeffrey is often portrayed in the film as an unconventional hippie. In one scene, Jeff takes young Shia to a patch of weed plants he has been growing off the highway and smokes it with him. That scene where the actor is growing the weed next to the freeway, I did that. Between the 405 and the 10, before you get to Cloverfield. Everyone's just racing right through there. Nobody's checking anything out. I'd put on a safety vest, walk around, take care of my plants. The freeway paid for the water. That part of it tickled the blank out of me. Watering is a big problem unless you live in Costa Rica. The movie ends with that scene, and then another of Shia going back to the hotel in present tense. The viewer gets a sense of closure as Shia proves to have a new and open understanding of his childhood PTSD and his own generational curses. In real life, it was in fact discovered during the writing of Honey Boy that Shia did have PTSD from childhood. A regular viewer of this movie would come to the easy conclusion that Shia's father is the trauma source, right? From the janky hotels with odd characters, chain smoking at 10, and non-stop abuse of multiple kinds. But now we know that never happened. Now we know Shia wasn't even living with his father for long periods of time without his mother's supervision. So what really happened? According to Shia in an old interview, before his father left for another stint in rehab, when Shia was only 9 years old, his father asked a man named Dave, a biker who lived next door, to keep an eye on him and his mother. Despite the extra set of eyes, a man did break in one night. LaBeouf awoke into the sound of a man S.A.ing his mother. The man ran out, his mother ran after him. Dave the biker came running over after them with a crossbow in hand. By then, the perpetrator had fled. They all went to the sheriff's office after the attack to file a report. Unfortunately, 9-year-old LaBeouf was present to listen as his mother recounted the events to the police. They never found the man. According to LaBeouf in 2018, the same month Honey Boy was announced, it was during his 2017 rehabilitation that he was officially diagnosed with PTSD in connection with his mother's SA. His PTSD diagnosis did not stem from having an abusive father, but an absent one. And in Shia's eyes, Jeff was absent on the one night that counts. Still, imagine the confusion of Jeffrey LaBeouf when this alternate narrative hits the screen. The one of an absent mother, the domineering drunk single dad, and the beaten child star trying to make it with zero emotional support when the real bad guy is still out there somewhere. Shia's dad's initial reception to the movie after the 2019 premiere did seem suspicious, but nonetheless still supportive of Shia. Some of my actions in the film didn't seem like they were my actions, but I'm not supposed to be the one that judges what's inside his head. I had to realize that his pain and how he visualized it came from a child. That pain to him, and he carried it with him. And somehow, he pointed it at me. That's painful for anybody. But because I wanted to continue my relationship with this person, forget that he came from my blood, this person who's so dear to me, I was willing to face my mess as much as he's willing to face his. Shia admitted to doing multiple tactics to keep suspicions low when it came to his father and the production/validity of Honey Boy.
And sent it to Mel Gibson, and I thought he was the guy to play my dad. And my dad was also thinking along the same lines. It's one thing to want to play your dad, it's another thing to go stand in front of your father after 7 years of not talking and go, hey man, I'm gonna play you, when there's contention already and we weren't on good terms. So I lied to him and told him, hey, Mel Gibson's gonna play you, sign right here. And,
Did you tell him beforehand this?
My dad's a pretty off-color character. He wasn't like too enthused about me playing him, you know? I don't know how you are with your dad or how you guys are with your dad, but my dad wasn't trying to have me play him, so I lied to him and told him that Mel Gibson would be playing him. And my dad was like, Mel Gibson? All right, okay, all right. I didn't sign the paperwork. And then I got home and I broke it to him. I sent them pictures. I said, listen, man, it's not like that. Yeah. True story.
Bragging on multiple media outlets how he would only lend his father doctored versions of the script to sign off on, often joking on how he wanted Mel Gibson, of all people, to play his father. As of today, Shia seems to regret Honey Boy. As of lately, he has denounced the movie publicly as well as apologized to his father publicly, stating, "Here is a man who I've done vilified on a great scale. I turned the knob up on certain stuff that wasn't real. My dad never hit me. Never. He spanked me once, one time, and the story that gets painted in Honey Boy is this dude is abusing his kid all the time." Going on further to call Honey Boy a big woe is me story about how messed up my father is. LaBeouf explained during John Bernthal's Real Ones podcast that he recently rekindled with his father. As stated previously, Jeff had fled the country to evade registration. Shia made contact with Jeffrey, who was in Nicaragua at the time, and apologized for slandering his name in order to clear up his own, offering him financial compensation amongst other things. But all Jeffrey wanted to do was come home to the USA. Last year, the Daily Mail reported that changes to the S-Offender Registry would soon clear Jeffrey LaBeouf from the list. As of now, according to Shia, Jeffrey is here and in his care. Dating back to the dawn of Hollywood, child performers have come forward time and time again regarding their parents' poor decision-making during the climb to fame. Long work hours, financial deception, introduction to substances early, and more. Despite this, whether it be a Mommy Dearest or a Joe Jackson, we will flock to the bookstores and movie theaters to get the first glimpse inside the abusive childhood homes of our beloved stars. With the decline of star searches or rags to riches stories and the rise of a gate-kept nepotism Hollywood, it didn't take long for someone to notice a gray area to manipulate and profit.